brutal from the beginning. This was light.
Was it worth the 1,190-day wait since that last awful?
It's the first episode. It's still building. Everything's building. You can't tell anything. But
this episode was much more violent than I remember the first episode of the original series being. Right, with the childbirth was very unsettling, and then it juxtaposed with the tournament thing was, and the baby dying at the same time. Damon's winning the tournament or fighting that tournament was kind of tough. So. Yeah, but there's people being castrated though, so there was issues there.
The whole area looked nice.
Yeah, it's 300 years ago. I mean, it's going to be hard to root against Doctor Who, but that guy's an asshole. That guy is an asshole. So, yeah. But like I said, I enjoyed it. Wait, am I on? Yeah, I'm on this. I'm on two different mics. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I like the way they tied the White Walkers in. That's almost 10 years of previous Game of Thrones history. So I think that's cool that they did that. I don't know where it's going to lead, but you can clearly see there's a whole bunch of killing going on. And Hightower just basically offering his daughter up at the end there, kind of in a very pimp way.
It's very interesting. We've never heard of any Hightowers in Game of Thrones. So seeing a new house that has not only the king, but also his daughter is servant to his daughter.
Yeah, and in the Valyrians, a lot of these guys were wiped out. You hear about them in the story, but you only hear about them in the past. Like the prophecy, they only touch on it in the actual show, but he actually lays it out, and you start to understand why they went mad. I mean, other than the incest, but I thought it set the table for just about the rest of the show. I mean, 9 more episodes to go. So. Okay, you have the other Aegon, the older one that's in Game of Thrones, 110-year-old. He's basically born after this.
Okay.
Yeah, so when they talk about Aegon, he's talking about the original king, the Conqueror. They left Valyria because of the prophecy of Valyrian doom, but there was another prophecy of the Long Night, and that's what he's talking about, and that's the secret that they'll pass down to the current Game of Thrones that we see now. So. Yeah, lots of beheadings. I mean, I have 3. I'm like telling my chat, I have 3 requirements for anything I go pay to see, and they're called the 3Ds: death, dismemberment, and destruction. I got all 3. One dismemberment I didn't need to see. Beheadings were cool. Plenty of death. I mean, some uncomfortable death, and destruction. I'm pretty sure the rest of the dragons will take care of all that. But yeah, it's a pretty violent episode, pretty long episode too. So that was about an hour and 10 minutes. So like I said, I'm happy. I'm happy that like I said, I'm happy it's back and we have something else to talk about, because the only thing I've had to talk about was season 6 or episode 6 of season 8, and that's a conversation ender right there. So I am happy, but thank you guys for showing up. Thanks for coming out. Next week, no kidding, I'm going to have not an Iron Throne, but it's going to be a life-size mock-up of an Iron Throne that'll be sitting right here. I was trying to get it ready for today, but we had all kinds of technical stuff we had to do at the last minute. But when you come in next time, it'll be sitting right here, and you guys can sit it and take pictures. But thanks everybody who's coming, and I hope to see you for the next 9 weeks. The last Sunday we'll have without Game of Thrones until October 30th. So there you go. After waiting 3 years. All right, thank you. All right, thank you guys. I got the flyers up here for that. Okay, so now I'm going to switch over to the non-studio mode and remove the camera. What's going on, Thade?
Oh, nothing much. Thunderstorms here, so.
Yeah, we're about to have another thunderstorm here. So we just wrapped up. That went a lot longer than I thought.
Yeah, it was a 16-minute episode, and then that after show thing.
And then they had a nice little thing afterwards where they pretty much laid out what happened in the episode, and they made the connection.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch that.
I saw part of it.
Yeah, hold on. Let me get set up here because I had to do a different setup for. Well, what did you think of the episode? While I get set up here.
It was great. The birth scene was a little hard to watch.
Yeah.
I love the tournament though. That was quite unlike most jousting tournaments in real history. Normally, jousts didn't end at death, but
Yeah, he wanted to propose it. The thing I had with the jousting thing was the fact that they, like I was telling the crowd here, that they lined it up with the death of the son, and I thought
Yeah.
that was really disturbing.
Yeah.
The rest of the stuff I felt okay. I was okay with. I mean, you knew there was going to be some gratuitous sex, but there wasn't really. The sex in here wasn't really gratuitous. It set up her character, and it
Yeah.
was used to set up Damon's character.
Yeah.
So I was okay with it. Hold on. Let me get
Yeah.
my pen here.
I something that stood out to me is when they were doing the funeral on the hillside with the baby and the queen. The dragon actually seemed sad. That was interesting.
Hold on, let me get my settings right so that I can hear you.
Yeah.
This was the first time we did anything anything with a live audience, and a lot of them had to go. Go ahead and say something.
Yeah. I'm here.
There we go. We're good.
All
Okay.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a pretty good crowd. I mean, we had, like I said, a lot of people that were wary of obviously the last season. I think once word gets out about the quality of this episode, I think a lot of people are going to jump back on. I expect to see a lot of people talking about this episode for the next week, and I think whatever numbers that they draw tonight are going to be even bigger when the season 2, because really, as violent as this episode was, episode 2 is going to be that much more violent.
Yeah. Well,
Go ahead.
Yeah, because Damon's on the warpath now.
Yeah, he's on the warpath. You obviously. Oh, by the way, guys, let me put my banner down here because we will be doing nothing but talking spoilers for this entire episode. So if you have not seen the episode for whatever reason, and you are in a different time zone, this is a spoiler. I'm not even going to put my hands up for this one. This is a spoiler full stream, because we got a lot to cover. But like I said, like you said last night, a lot of the things that were set in place are not really spoilers. There are things that have to happen in order for the story to take place. You obviously know that we're battling over the heir of the throne. If the king were healthy and we weren't dealing with it, and they showed he's got some kind of cancer that's going to slowly or going to kill him within time. So we know that we're fighting over his throne. So him dying is not really a spoiler. It's more of a table setting, like you said last night.
It's an inevitability.
Yeah, it's an inevitability, and you are. I like the way they did a very good job in laying out the loyalties, even with between Damon and the king. The fact that there were people on the council that that were doing their best to basically expose him and basically rat on him to whatever possible. And I love the fact that when he asked him, did he say that thing that he did he make the insult to his dead son and the wife? The heir for a day was a quote. He didn't. He owned up to it. He owned up to it. He didn't back down, and that was some good character building. I've seen Matt Smith in a lot of things other than Doctor Who. So it is, I've obviously he's been in Terminator. He's been in other stuff, but he's always going to be the 11th Doctor to me. And to see him just go full asshole was beautiful. As just adds another dimension. I really can see hating him. I can really see hating him. Now, there are other characters in this show that I will probably learn to hate. Her best friend, obviously. And I thought, and I thought it was a pimp move for Otto Hightower
to send his daughter.
Wow, dude. I don't know how old she's supposed to be here, but let's
16.
go ahead. 16. So let's go ahead and pimp your 16-year-old daughter to the king. That's a master stroke, and obviously it's going to pay off. But at the same time, that one move right there starts a war, pretty much. Not immediately, but it basically leads to things that are going to start this war. And it's just going to be interesting to see how much they time jump. Like, how much time are they going to spend? Like, we didn't see the actress that's going to play Rhaenyra in the bulk of the episode. We saw Millie Alcott, and that's the Australian actor that plays the younger version of her. So I'm wondering how they're going to lay this out time-wise as far as, like, going back and forth. Are they going to tell a lot of story in prologue? Are they going to tell a lot of flashbacks? Are they going to do present day and then jump ahead? So a lot of it is they've laid the table, they've set the table, but they've also put a lot of questions for us that I didn't think I would be asking. Like, it's a prequel, so all right. So let's see who we got in the chat here. William and Thade, Statland Wardoff from the Muppet Show. Wow. Oh, the old jokes continue. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I didn't have. Oh, by the way, guys, when you first tuned in, I didn't have the audio in because I did not expect for them to have that long of a epilogue that would lead out, and it was pretty long, and I didn't want to have the sound getting us copyrighted or anything like that because it was. I'm literally sitting next to the giant screen that we set up for this. There's a stage, and then there's me, and so I'm literally set up to the speakers. I had the camera set on the audience, and it was my intention to get all of them involved, but it went over, and a lot of people had to go. So next week we're going to. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mute it, maybe with 15 minutes or so left in the episode, so you guys can see me and see them, and we can still interact. But we won't be able to start the show with sound, so we will be copyrighted. So that's why that happened, Stella. All right, so let's see who else we have. Yes, this was an amazing start. See you later. I love the sound score. I like the fact that it seemed to be a blend of what we were familiar with, especially when the Targaryen, the music that you always heard when Dany was around. You heard that music there when the funeral pile, when the dragon comes down. I thought that was a moving scene. I thought the opening scene with the big blue sky and this just dragon comes out. The very first thing you see in here basically was the dragon. So I like Viserys. But like I said, he's like Ned Stark. You know he's not long for the show simply because he's too good to fit in this world. And this is a show full of jackasses. I can see hating just about everybody. I already hate Otto Hightower, even though I respect his pimp move. All he needed was a fur coat and some glass shoes and a medallion because he was a pimp. He basically saw an opening, basically just like the hand of the king does in the modern Game of Thrones that we know. Otto Hightower moved his daughter into the king's bed. And she's 16. She sort of gets it, but she's 16. And that's probably going to be the first guy she's with. So he was ruthless. So however much of the jackass or asshole that Daemon Targaryen comes off of, he's a little bit more complicated than the rest of the jackass that are surrounded. Don't be watching the show looking for a hero. I was warned that going forward. And I see this show now. I'm like, there are no angels in this show.
Oh no, there's not gonna be.
This is
the closest to anybody good in this show is probably King Viserys right now.
Yeah, and he ain't got too much time left. What did you think? You loved it, Ray? I loved it too. Like I said, it's been a good last. I got the Sandman doing things for me that I never thought I would see, and then I got this show. And like I said, I wasn't skeptical because some of the people that I trust that have had screeners told me that this was epic and this has the potential to be better than the last series. I always think of that as hyperbole, like I always say, prisoner of the moment. Now having seen it, the one thing that this episode did better than the first episode of Game of Thrones is the pageantry. And the pageantry was interlaced with violence. When you watch Game of Thrones, the violence opens up with the White Walkers and the beheadings and all the stuff that goes on. And then for the most part, it's up compared to this episode. Episode 1 of Game of Thrones was tame. Episode 1 of the original Game of Thrones was PG. House of the Dragon goes full on horrors, full on violence, full on oh, dude, like I was telling the crowd here, all 3Ds. And like I was telling them, there was a dismemberment, and I'm not going to go into graphic details here, that I could have done without. Could have done without, and they showed it. And so it was brutal. Brandon broke in, should work into the Dragons. You know what? The only good thing about his useless character, I mean, what ended up as his useless character, was that the fact that his power allows him to undo certain things. He literally, if they wanted to, could use him to undo some of the things that they don't want. If they think that this show is going great and they want to tell a different story, or they want to redraw the history the same way that he affected Hodor's history and possibly the Bad King's history, he could affect these people's history, because he brings up the prophecy, and I love the fact that he brought up the prophecy. I mean, that's a direct, even though it's 173 years from it happening, this prophecy is so important that even Rhaegar, who we never get to see in Game of Thrones, that is why he leaves his wife. He knows that there has to be, in the Song of Ice and Fire, in Winterfell being the ice and the fire being the Targaryens. So that there's more to that prophecy that we probably haven't heard, and hopefully within the next couple of episodes we'll get more of it. I don't know if it's going to be the dominant storyline. I think the Dance of Dragons and the violence is going to be the main thing, but it'll be in the backdrop, and who knows how long that they'll go. Where is Enosh? I don't know. Maybe he's watching the stream. I'm hoping he is. 9 more Sundays. 9 more Sundays. You do not have a Game of Thrones this Sunday until October 30th. Just think of how great the weather will be and how far in the football season will be by then. So, a lot of him. Just that small council table with all of them sitting there, and I love the way they had the giant marbles, because they were to stop each other from talking over each other. But there was some venom in that small council, especially when Daemon shows up and him and Hightower just go at it, and you see that as a precursor of they're going to go at it for the rest of their lives, and there's going to be a cost to that tension between them. That is, you could kind of see that just from the way they were talking. That is literally where the split, where this war will be fought on. You could already see who's going to be fighting on whose side, just from that one small council meeting. Okay, so all right, so Jack,
Hey, William.
Go ahead, man.
Sorry about that. Storm's getting really bad here. I may be in and out.
Okay. Yeah, we got it coming in here too, dude. The Southwest, we begged for water. We begged to get out of this drought, and we're getting our wish, because Vegas is. We got some stuff coming in now too. It's 101 degrees, but it's in there. So, so if you go out, I understand. If I go out and you're on, you know what to do. Joffrey was young as king. He was 13 in the books and 16 as when he became king. But wow, Jackie Gleason once did an interview saying that when people met him on the street, they just hated him. Same thing with Cersei.
Dude, that kid stopped acting because of that show.
Yeah, I mean, he did his role so well. Same thing with what's his face? You know what I'm talking about? Not the Bastard, Battle of the Bastards. Like, I'm blanking again.
Ramsey.
The actor who played him. I mean, it's hard to watch him in other things now, because of the fact that he played that role so well. You just wanted him to die. And dude, I love the CGI and the dragons. They the scales and the way the light hits them. And what I also loved about the dragons was the fact that they're just flying over the air. And whereas in our era of Game of Thrones that we first saw, dragons were a myth, pretty much. They had been seen for 100 years. Here, they're just flying over.
Did it seem to you like Syrax, the Rhaenyra's dragon, when she came down to burn the corpses of the queen and the baby? Did it seem like the dragon was a little sad to you? Because she seemed like she was moving.
Well,
I know they're intelligent. Intelligent.
Not only are they intelligent, but they can read. They have a mental connection between Targaryens. They can
Yeah.
also tell a Targaryen with like Jon that her dragons knew that Jon was a Targaryen. But yeah, she felt that dragon felt what she was feeling, and she couldn't even get the words Dracarys out. And the dragon sensed that hesitation. And the dragon is mourning the death. The Targaryens and the dragons have that bond. That's like a family member. That's like a mother dying or grandmother dying. So the dragon had the same apprehension and sadness that the actual humans did, which is correct, which is what it's supposed to be. So yeah, I love that fact that was good detail. Thanks for picking up on that detail. Yeah, man. Oh, this was hard. Even a Targaryen mother with the biracial children has a hidden agenda. Yeah. Okay. I thought we were talking about the death of the other mother. That was really hard to watch. This is off topic. I'll keep this up on the screen, but watching his wife die, watching him anguish over that, and then watching, like he said, I just lost my wife and my son, and you guys I won't have crows picking over their remains. And then he gets up and walks out of that council, even though he knows that he's going to have to address.
Well, that has precedent in history. Like Henry VIII, when his son was born, his only legitimate son was born. When he lost his wife, he had counselors after him to get another wife, and he had just lost her, and he had just, he had a new son and everything. I mean, there is precedent for the way that King Viserys acted there.
Even Rhaenyra. So yeah, because the Targaryen mother had a better claim than King Viserys to be the sovereign. That's when they bring that up. They bring that up in the meeting with Corlys, because that's his wife, and he's like, and then they go at it then, and they don't hold back when they're talking to each other. And,
I actually kind of like Counselor Corlys.
Yeah, I think he's going to be one of the characters that is more liked than anything else. I did like the fact that he was always protective of his little brother until the point where he got so angry. And I love the quote where he said, "You'll address me as your grace, so I'll have my king's guard cut out your tongue." And he just gets mad at him, and that's the last time they'll probably see each other, because I truly believe that that Viserys is, like I said, within the next couple of episodes, because we only have 9 episodes to establish this war, and this is going to be the beginning of the war. And like I'm interested to see how they lay this out. I'm interested to see how. At what point do we see the adult Rhaenyra? I mean, she's pretty much an adult now. She's played by a 23-year-old, but she looks much younger. And then obviously you see Alicent. That's going to make a turn for the worse, because she's getting knocked up. So yeah, this is it's a complicated show, but it's a beautiful show. All right, Rings of Power premiere has a lot to live up to after this. It all depends on what you're into. For me, Rings of Power is not going to touch this, because I'm not a Tolkien guy. But for Tolkien guys, Ring of Power, dude, they spent a lot of money on Ring of Power. So it doesn't have to live up to Game of Thrones. It has to live up to that $500 million production budget, or whatever the hell they spent to get that. So, and I've seen the previews. If I were into Tolkien, I think I would love Rings of Power, because it looks like a beautiful show. It's just that Game of Thrones appeals to me in a way that the Lord of the Rings storytelling just doesn't. It's just a matter of preference, not to knock it. I mean, I know I make fun of it, but just I realized what I was missing in that type of storytelling when we got to watch this show again, because it's what I missed for the last 3 years. You get dragons, you get magic, but you get intensity, you get just viciousness of people. And even though all this magic and all these dragons and all these spells and all these things are there, what Game of Thrones always comes back to is how good or bad the human beings are. That's really all it comes down to. Some of the other shows that use these themes as a backdrop, it is about the magic. It is about the heroism of certain characters. But with Game of Thrones, it's about the basic concepts that we are all familiar with: family, betrayal, violence. All these are things that everyone can relate to, and that's why I think Game of Thrones is among other reasons, is done what it has done over the last 15 years or so. So let's see. All right, let's see. All right, I like Game of Thrones. This Ramirez Gate, it seems like every character they introduced. Yeah, and they did a good job, because there was a lot of characters that needed to be introduced. and a lot of groundwork that you need to lay out, and they did it in a way that is not confusing or complicating and not boring. That was my biggest fear, is that there's so much to lay out that people just might lose interest. Nobody here that we were watching it with lost interest. I didn't lose interest. I didn't turn away at all. So I was, let's see. Yeah, Damon. I think I have to watch it again. I think she was on the dragon with him. I think that's who, when he refers to her lady wife. Oh, hold on, wait. There you go. I think that's who he's referring to. He has a wife, but he may have been referring to the wife he hadn't seen, because, like you said, she hasn't been at court. She's at the veil. That's his actual wife. His mistress was the Asian lady that he was partaking in the carnal knowledge, and the one who was touching the dragon with him. That's actually the one he loves, and she's a former servant, former slave, and I think he might have had a lot to do with her being free. But she's also, from what I hear, a very calculating individual herself, and that's probably why a lot of these guys, a lot of these royals in these times, they go looking for mistresses that fit their personality rather than the wives that were set up for them. A lot of them are forced into marriage. They don't get to choose their wives. They're, the family's unity, all that stuff. So a lot of them go out and get mistresses because the mistresses connect to them in a way that is natural and not, So his mistress made an impact. Definitely made an impact for the first episode for sure. So
I have an interesting thing that I picked up on during the joust, during the tournament. The Dornish prince that bested Daemon.
Yeah,
I think he's going to be a point of view character during this first season, because it's been a precedent. It's been a precedent in Game of Thrones. If they linger too long on a character that you think is just kind of ephemeral or whatever, that person eventually becomes a point of view character. So I think he may be.
I actually think he's going to get wasted pretty soon.
Oh, that's possible, because Daemon's pissed. Well, you saw that look Daemon gave when he got up.
Yeah, I think he's going to be somebody that Daemon kills. I think Daemon's going to be doing a lot of killing.
Yeah.
So he's going to. He's been exiled now to go rule some other land, and then he takes over some other. He, like I said, he's a very complex individual. So once again, guys, we're talking spoilers. So if you're watching this on the replay, I put the spoiler thing down there. So we're talking about things that have happened. Hopefully you did not make it 33 minutes and have it ruined for you. But it's a post-game show, guys. How are we going to talk post-game without talking about the game? Go ahead, man.
Did you notice another thing that I noticed? Rhaenyra is kind of small. She's kind of a tiny little thing.
Yeah,
the new heir.
Yeah, so is a lot of their women are tiny too. So
was Dany. Dany was little too.
Yeah, and I think a lot of who knows, could be from inbreeding.
That's what I was about to say. Do you think it has to do with the inbreeding? I mean,
a lot of it's going to have to do because they all have the same features. They all have, and they have the purple eyes and the white hair. There's probably they're not going to get that lucky and just have all the positive characteristics of each other. There's going to be some chromosomes that get messed up in there. So, and
I love Daemon's dragon armor.
Oh yeah, it looks cheesy in the trailer, but it looks better. It looks better now that they've done it.
And I would like to point out that Prince Rhaegar later on, the Mad King's son, the one that was killed on the Trident.
Yeah,
his armor was just like Daemon's in description, except for it was red.
Yeah, and it had the dragon on it. She was cast to look like that. Okay, well, I don't know if she was cast to look like Daenerys because Daenerys was cast to look like the books depicted the Targaryen women to look, with the hair and the eyes and the beauty. So I think, and even if you look at the older Targaryens that are in there, you can kind of see if you de-age them, they were probably hot, they were probably young, and they looked just like her. So I think that's just a byproduct of the fact that what the Targaryen women and men look like. Because if you look at Viserys, Dany's brother, and if you look at Daemon, I mean, there are a lot of similarities there, other than the fact that one is Matt Smith. And if you look at Rhaegar, this flashback that they showed when they showed Rhaegar marrying Lyanna, you'll see that he looks like Viserys. So I think it's just a really strong resemblance because there's not a lot of variety being put in there. Yeah, I love my headphones. You guys can't see them all here, but yeah, they're here. I want to get some dragon ones. I wonder if they have dragon ones. Brandon, if you're listening, no, I'm just kidding.
Get some
Yeah,
dragon ones.
yeah, recessive gene, and remember, these guys have done it over hundreds of years of inbreeding. So yeah,
And dude, does Balarion's skull looks bigger than in the original Game of Thrones series?
yeah.
Balerion was huge.
Yeah, Valerian the Black Dread. Like I said, he died of old age, and a lot of these dragons, some of these dragons that you're about to see are a lot older because some of them. There's one dragon I believe that was there at when one of the last dragons that Aegon when Aegon the Conqueror came through. It was one of his sister wives rode. It was one of the last remaining ones that there. So we're gonna get to dive into all that history. But yeah, that's about it, guys. That's all I got here. I'm starving, and there's like, dude. By the way, if you're watching this and you are local, you got to come out to Square Bar. This place is great. Here's the menu. They have a hot dog here that is wrapped in Spam.
That's interesting.
Here it is, right there. And I'm going to get a better setup. There's a hot dog that is wrapped in Spam. I was going to bring on their menu, but we were having some tech issues going in, so I had to curtail a lot of the stuff. Me and the people who run the events here, while the episode was going on, we were thinking of ways we can make it better. I was having a problem with my camera setup at the beginning, and I fixed it towards the end. That's why I was able to give you the crowd view towards the end there. And
Yeah.
I had some sound issues, but we also had a couple of technical issues that we didn't foresee that were in-house that we were able to fix rolling. So kudos to the staff at Square Bar. Square Bar is located like literally, it is 900 East Karen Avenue, Suite C101, Las Vegas, Nevada 89109. If you're local and are one of our tourists that are listening and you've ever been to the Sci-Fi Center, it is in the same exact plaza as the Sci-Fi Center. It's in the courtyard area. So if you've been here before, you pretty much are 100 feet away from there. We're going to be here for the next 9 episodes. Next week, on the stage here, we're going to unveil our Iron Throne so people can sit in it. I'll open up the stream with me sitting on it before I let the tourists sit on it. But yeah, we got a lot to cover. We'll cover it through our other streams a little bit more. But this was just an introductory, just to get that blood going again, just to get that fire going again. That 1,190-day wait is over, and that's what we were announcing. Everybody clapped when we saw the first credits roll because it was just such a relief not only to have Game of Thrones, but to have good Game of Thrones. So, all right, guys, I'm going to go order some of this artery-killing food.
All right, man.
For you, but I'm going to take it. Thanks for joining me, Fade. For those of you who went home and are going home and were here with us tonight and were watching it on the replay, thank you for showing up. Having a live audience while we do this was really cool. We're gonna dive deep into the live audience more next week. Now that we know technically what we can do and some of the stuff we can fix, but this was a good start both for us and for Game of Thrones. Once again, we're back with Fire and Blood. All right, thanks, guys.
All right, good night, everybody.